Welcome back to episode 32 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. Myself and Matt today. I survived the quick. Feels good. Matt, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing really great, honestly. Philly's got some important games coming up here against your main rivals. Means a lot in the wild card chase. So we're taking care of business in the first one so far. But I mean, the better question is how is live hurricane update reporter Melo doing today?
Your live update is that it's over. It was over at 8 o'clock in the morning. So much for that. All that hype for this big hurricane that was coming. We just got consistent rain. And since we're on the topic, let me say something to people. Listen, we all saw that picture from the helicopter view, which was an amazing picture. I've seen that picture 1,000 times when it's beautiful, but even when it's wet, dark, and raining, Los Angeles and Dodger Stadium still looks beautiful. But we all saw that picture. Yes, I understand that it looks like Dodger Stadium was flooding on Sunday. It was not. The pavement, the way the pavement is, it really looked like it was overflowing. I will say that, but that was not the case. Dodger Stadium was built on a hill. You know what happens when it rains at Dodger Stadium? The water goes down the hill. There's no flooding. Come on, I thought we were better than this. I I was not disappointed is not the right word. I was just a little shocked. Like really, we really thought the Dodger Stadium parking lot was just flooding. Just haven't been to LA. I know Dodger
Yeah,
Stadium like the back of my hand. Dodger Stadium's a big parking lot. And I can guarantee you there was no flooding on Sunday. And now the sun is out, so everything is back to normal.
that's right. And Melo's not going to do it, but I'm going to give him a pat on the back because he was the first to report that the Dodgers were doing a doubleheader
That is
um
correct.
uh over the weekend to in preparation for Sunday's game. So he was the first on that. Got to give him a little
Yes. Thank you
props to
very
Melo for
much.
that.
Yes, since none of the Dodger beat reporters want to give me any credit, I appreciate that credit from you, Matt. I really
Yes.
do.
I mean, it was well deserved. You got your sources within the building, obviously, and
Yes, I did. Dodgers media, you know who you are. You saw have they all saw that tweet? I don't care what they say. They saw it. They just didn't want to acknowledge it. It's okay.
that's right. That was the first of many.
I'll remember that.
He's going to be breaking Shohei
Yes,
Ohtani $800 million to the
that
Dodgers
is
this
correct.
summer or this
I
winter.
could break it for you right now if I want to.
Yeah, you probably could, but we'll save that
I
for another
mean,
episode.
he's not re-signing with the Angels. I can tell you that.
Salt in the wound.
That I can
Salt in
tell
the
you.
wound.
It's necessary.
What do we got on the bracket or on the docket for today, Mello?
So today we got the NL MVP race is heating up. And if you would have said that a month ago and even a month and a half ago, probably wouldn't be much of an argument. But now there is. I know you Braves fans don't want to hear it, but it's true. The Little League Classic, I don't know how much you saw of it yesterday, Matt, but eh, eh I know you don't want to talk about it, but we were gonna have to just a
No.
little bit. And then the Mariners, they swept the Astros over the weekend, and very quietly, they're in contention in the AL West. We'll touch base on that. And lastly, Dodgers are back.
They
Dodgers
are.
are back. They lost. Their winning streak came to an end Friday night, but there was no letdown on Saturday. And I think now, and I hate that I have to do this because I'm going to get myself excited again, and it's probably going to end with me disappointed again. I am getting really excited about this team, but we'll save that for the end. NL MVP.
It's an
Listen,
interesting race.
yes, Like I said, Atlanta fans, I know you don't want to hear it because Acuna's your guy, and rightfully so. He's been the MVP up until, well, okay, let me rephrase that again. He's been the the clear favorite for NL MVP up until maybe 2 weeks ago.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Now, now you can make a case and cover your ears, Braves fans. I know you're not gonna like it again. You can make a case for Matt Olson, which you like that, but I know you're not gonna like these two names. You can make a case for Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. You don't want to hear it because it's coming from a Dodger fan. I get all that. Don't lie to yourself. Now, I still think, and to answer the question, who is the NL MVP at this point? I still think it's Ronald Acuna because he's been, and I said this weeks ago. I really do think MLB wants Acuna to win the MVP. I really think they do. He's arguably the most one of the most fun players we have in the sport right now, one of the most electric. But the way Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts have been playing the last 2 weeks, it's very hard. It's very hard. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some voters are starting to sway the other way because if you get Acuna's numbers and Freddie's numbers, take out the stolen bases, Freddie has an argument. He does have an argument. But Matt, you're not a fan of either team, so I kind of want to hear what you have to say.
I'm
Not
not.
kind of. I do want to hear what you have to say.
Um, you're talking about numbers here. I'll give them to you here. Mookie Betts, something the voters look at a lot. WAR. Mookie Betts leads these four players in WAR with 6.4. He's got 34 home runs on the season, hitting 298, with a 394 on base and a 595 slugging. Good for an NL best 989 OPS. Freddie Freeman, 5.4 WAR, 333 batting average, 23 homers. Power's not necessarily his game, but he's still 23 homers is very solid. A 411 on base percentage, very nice. 986 OPS, right behind his teammate Mookie Betts. Now, like we said, Acuna, 6.2 WAR, 331 on or batting average, very impressive. 28 bombs on the year, and then the stolen bases may honestly be what ends up winning him the MVP. 56. He's in a league of his own. But the other number is very impressive as well. 417 on base, 569 slugging, tied with Freddie in OPS. Then Matt Olson, a 4.9 WAR, 43 home runs, 269 batting average, NL best 601 slugging. Good for a 981 OPS. So the question is, who's your MVP? At this exact moment, I think I'm still giving it to Acuna. But Mookie Betts is right on his trail, in my opinion. This is how I would rank him. I'd go Acuna, Mookie Betts. I think Freddie's overall numbers are better than Matt Olson. The home runs do a lot for me, but the average and the on base percentage by Freddie also does a lot for me. And then Matt Olson fourth. How would you rank him?
Before I get to that, and I wanted to say this last time, this is the difference between Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman would much rather hit 330 with 22 home runs and hit a bunch of doubles. Matt Olson would much rather hit 270, 275 and have 40 home runs and 100 RBIs. That's the difference to me. That's what I've noticed watching Freddie Freeman the last 2 years with my team and seeing Matt Olson the way he's been tearing it up when he was in Oakland and since he came to Atlanta. But the way I have him ranked right now, I'm going to flip him. I think it's Acuna, I think it's Freddie, and I think it's Mookie. That's my top three. I'm only saying that because Mookie's had a great season. And listen, he's going to surpass the total home runs he's ever hit in a season. He's going to pass that. And yes, Mookie Betts has played multiple positions. He's played shortstop, he's played second base, and he's played right field, which is incredible because coming in the season, the idea of him playing any position outside of right field was asinine. It just wasn't something that many Dodger fans, I think, were interested in. I definitely wasn't interested because I didn't want to see him get hurt. I wanted to see him on the field every night. I just think Freddie has been more consistent this season because he's been up there and he's stayed up there in batting average pretty much all season.
Yeah.
He's been hovering around 340, 330 all season. Yeah, the pop is not there. Doesn't need to. I think he leads the league in doubles right now. If
Yes.
not, he's one of the top. Yeah. And he's going to break a record that hasn't been broken since Sean Green in 2003. I don't know exactly what the record is, but he's going to pass it in doubles in a single season. So Acuna is still the favorite right now, and I think he still will win.
Yeah.
But those two Dodger guys and Olsen are right on his tail.
Definitely. He's got, speaking of Freddie, he's got over double the doubles of Matt Olson, 45 compared to 21. And I feel like that number is going to get outshined a lot because Olson has more than 20 more home runs than Freddie. And the pop does a lot for me. Okay. I'm a homer guy. I got Kyle Schwarber on my team. I have to be a home run guy. Okay. Because if I was out here mocking Matt Olson, oh, I got a this year lesser version of Matt Olson because my guy's not hitting even 200 on the season, but he still got the bombs. So I think Freddie's getting a little bit underappreciated, but clearly where Acuna just beats everybody is on the base pass, like we said. I mean, 56 on the year, I believe, is what he's at now, which is insane. Yeah, 56. So that's crazy. I don't think anybody's really even close to him. If it is, it's like Esteury Ruiz on the A's. So no offense to him, but not a lot of people are paying attention to his season anymore this year. But do you think if the Dodgers pass the Braves for best team in the league, if that like best record, do you think it matters at all to the voters?
I think it would because Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are in the top of the lineup every single night, and they play every day. Now, I don't think that'll be the end all be all of the conversation, but I do think it helps because remember the Dodgers were trailing the Braves by a good solid 15 wins. And then when they
Yeah.
went on that winning streak the last 2 weeks ago, they're right there. Being the number one seed in the National League is not out of the question. Now, listen, you posted the graphic for the postseason ended today.
Hmm.
I much rather would play. I like the 2 seed in the National League. I'd rather take the Brewers or the Cubs. Don't give me those pesky Giants and don't give me those Phillies that just went to the World Series last year in the wild when they came out of the wild card round. I don't need that. Give me the boring Brewers and give me the Cubs who probably weren't expecting to be there from the beginning of the season. But the wins do matter, but at the end of the day, I think it is still going to be Acuna. And I'm so happy. Sorry, I'm so happy that Acuna because he's had the injury bug a little bit in the early part of his career.
Yes.
I'm glad that we're finally able to see him play a full season. Now he's
Definitely.
done it in the past. I'm not saying he hasn't, but he had that bad injury 2 seasons ago. I'm so glad that we're seeing a full season of Ronald Acuna, and he's showing that what he can do when he's fully healthy in a full 162 because he's electric and it's so fun to watch.
Yeah. Even as a Phillies fan, it's great to see Acuna get a full season under his belt, like you said. And obviously, the new rule changes are helping him out a ton. Debatably, it's had the biggest impact on him, especially for the stolen bases, definitely. But I think we covered everything pretty well there for NL MVP. So we got to talk a little Phillies in the Little League World Series Classic. Um, a little disappointed in my Phils. Shout out Jake Cave for making the game interesting at the end there. Two
I
run
saw
home
that.
run in the ninth. I was expecting a little more out of the Phils. I thought they would put the hammer down on the Nationals, and in their used to be minor league low A affiliated team ballpark there. Shout out to Williamsport Crosscutters. That's the stadium they play at. I've been to one of their games. No big deal. Front row seat right behind the dugout. Tickets cost like
Whoa.
$12. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So no big deal about that. Bryson Stott, once a Williamsport crosscutter. So we've had some Phillies come up through the system there. So it's cool to see. It's great to see. I got to see the Pennsylvanias in the Little League World Series. I mean, they lost. They got eliminated. But it was cool to see the Phillies, Bryce Harper and Reese Hoskins and Taiwan Walker. They were all there. A couple of them went up into the booth. It was cool to see them talking to our guy Xavier Scruggs up there on the call. So I thought that
we've
was
had him on
fun.
before.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a great thing Major League Baseball does. One of the better ideas that has come up during the Rob Manfred tenure, I would say. Um, Now the Dodgers haven't played in it yet. I'm not sure they will because it's a long trip, unless they're on happen to be on the East Coast for a series then. But um, what do you think of it? You like it?
I like it. I do. It's always fun to get the kids involved, especially when they're playing your sport. And I hear the same thing every year when I watch it. You know, those kids are sponges when they're there. They're watching everything these guys are doing, how they approach hitting, how they field ground balls, everything. All the way to how they chew the damn gum in the dugout. Just, it's crazy. And it's cool for the kids. I enjoy seeing that. It was fun. Even the players are getting it. Like you just mentioned, you saw the Phillies that were at the one of the Pennsylvania team, which shout out here in California, El Segundo, California. They won their game on Thursday. They're playing tomorrow again, or I think they're playing today, or I think they're playing right now actually. So shout out to them. Hopefully they do some damage because California, we're different when it comes to ball players. But anyways, um, it's a great idea. They announced yesterday that the Yankees and the Tigers are going to be doing it next year. Yeah, and I said this in the group chat, and I'm going to say it here. When I think of kids, when I think of MLB players that kids should learn and watch, Javi Baez doesn't exactly come to mind. That's
Nope.
not the first player that comes to mind. Now, listen, let's be honest. They're all going to be there to see Judge. Come on,
Yeah.
let's not kid ourselves. They're all going to be there to see what Judge does. And rightfully so. Major League Baseball, it makes sense for the Judge factor to put the Yankees there. But against the Tigers, really? We couldn't pick a better team?
Yeah.
Really?
I think it was
Maybe the Tigers will be good next year. I doubt it.
ah, I don't know about good. Maybe they'll be serviceable, decent.
Do they know that Miggy's retiring at the end of
That's
this year?
what I was about to say. I was gonna say that's a miss there. You should have had Miggy there in his last season. You gotta play into that, lean into that. It's Miggy's last year. Yeah. It would have that been a moment, if him and the Guardians they were playing there and he squared up against Jose, that would have been
Exactly.
hilarious. The whole stadium would have cracked up laughing. It's a bunch of kids. They're all over social media. They love that clip. So that would have been great. I understand it's a bit of a scheduling thing. You can't have two central teams come out to play one game in Williamsport and then come back. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I get that, but I don't know. I think it would have been cool to see Miggy there in his final year.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Major League Baseball has done some things right. They did it. They're doing good with these. They're doing good with the out of country games with London and Mexico, and they're doing good with the Field of Dreams, and they're doing good with the Little League World Series. And I hope they keep it up for years to come.
Okay, we're gonna move on now. out to the AL West. Talk a little Seattle Mariners because they've been on a heater. 6-game winning streak. Played themselves into an interesting spot here. Current AL West standings. Texas in first, obviously. Houston behind them, 2.5 games back. And then the Mariners, 3 games back. And right now they're in an AL wildcard spot. They got the last one there. Just stole that from Toronto. I mean, this team is on a roll right now. This is what we expected from them this season, kind of. And especially Julio Rodriguez, as he's had like back to back to back 4-hit games or something like that, something crazy. This is the MVP caliber season we were talking about. This is it's possible you could win your division. We were talking about Mariners. So, I mean, what are you thinking about the Mariners right now?
Imagine where this team would have been if they would have just had a better start to the first half of the season. They might be in first place right now.
Yeah.
Granted, it might not be by much because Houston and Texas have been pretty good this year too. But this is a fun team to root for. Not too long ago, they were America's team, and everybody rooted for them to get into the postseason, and then they missed out on the last day of the season. Last year, they broke the playoff drought and got swept by Houston. It has changed because the expectation going into this year was, hey, you got to win the division. You've got to take that next step. And they did stumble out of the gates in the first half. I know I said I'm not taking it back. I still think Houston's going to win this division. I'm not changing that after 1 week. Seattle Mariners are good. They get good starting pitching every night too. And you mentioned that last week too. There is a scenario where Seattle could just swoop in and win this division.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Definitely. There's a real possibility of that. And it's interesting how at the All-Star break, when everybody was coming to their hometown for the All-Star game festivities, they were sitting 1 game above 500, I believe. Right around 500. I forget if it was a game above, a game below, right around there. They traded Paul Sewald, their closing pitcher, at the trade deadline. Now, granted, they got back major league names, or a major league name, and then 2 guys who were on the cusp, I believe, of making their debut. Or even Canzoni, I believe, made his debut with the Diamondbacks already. But it was interesting. There was rumors they were going to trade Teoscar Hernandez. They were not shopping him, but teams may have been calling about him. And like I said, dealt Paul Sewald, and it was like, well, this is a weird move, kind of. If you want one thing when you're making a playoff push, it's definitely a lockdown closer, because that can be a difference between winning and losing a playoff series. And they traded away their guy. I mean, not that they didn't feel good with their names that they had in the bullpen, because they have a decent bullpen. There's no question about that. But to trade away your guy like that was an interesting move. And they'd really just played themselves into a playoff spot here. Gained so much ground on Houston by sweeping them over the weekend. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Just Julio Rodriguez and starting pitching that's the Mariners' success recipe right there. George Kirby, Luis Castillo, all those guys.
Do you think they can? Do you think they'll win the division? I know we're going back to this from last week.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to win the division. Could they end up in second? Yeah. I think this is going to be a really hot race for the division. I think it's going to be a 3-team race, and any of the 3 teams could and maybe will be in first place between now and the remainder of the season. Because, I mean, a series sweep we saw how much ground the Mariners gained, obviously, against the Astros. But then Rangers and Mariners, and take a quick look at their schedule right now. But you could be in first place right now, or tied for first place right now, if you get a 3-game series against the Rangers and you sweep. And even if you take 2 out of 3, okay, you're 2 games closer now. So the fact that I gotta check, because maybe they don't even have a series against each other anymore
I
this
have the
season.
schedule right in front of me.
Oh, go ahead.
This is the last week and a half of their schedule. September 22nd through the 25th, they have a 3-game series in Texas. And then they come back for a big 3-game series against the Houston Astros. And then they finish up the season, their season, with a big 4-game series against the Rangers at home.
Wow.
If you can stay within 3 games until that last couple weeks, all you got to do is win out. Well, I mean, you're not going to go undefeated. Let's be realistic. But out of the 1, 2, 3, out of the 10 games you have against the Rangers, 2 against the Rangers and 1 against the Astros, if you can go 8-2, you might end up just winning that division. Maybe on the last day of the season.
That's crazy.
I don't know. But it's there. It's not one of those you control your own destiny, but in a way it kind of is. Kind of. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're doing a little schedule watch here. The Astros. I mean, this stretch starting from September 11th. A's, Royals, then you got the O's, then Royals again, then that 3-game series against the Mariners, and then 3 with a Diamondbacks team that could be looking to make a last-minute push into the playoffs. That series could be scrappy. I mean, the Astros were 99% sure are going to be in a playoff spot by then. Not 100% sure, because the Blue Jays are still knocking on the door. They're trying to take back their spot. But if the Astros are pretty well locked in, obviously they want the division. But who knows what that could look like with that 3-game series against Seattle right before that. They could be out of the division race. It's possible. That 3-game series with the Diamondbacks, D-backs are making a last-minute playoff push. Astros end up as the 3rd wild card seed, 2nd wild card seed. Well, definitely 2nd, maybe 3rd. It's going to be interesting. The AL West and the last wild card spot are 2 of the more entertaining stories to watch here, races to watch here.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the AL West is becoming a very fun, interesting division.
How it turns around from the Astros dominating it year after year to Astros could be 3rd at the end of the year.
Yeah, and coming into the season, I think if I would have said there's 3 American League teams from the AL West that are in a playoff spot, I think you would have said I think you would have said Houston, Seattle, and I'm going to dump on them again. I think you would have said the Angels. I think you would have said the Angels before the Rangers. What's going on, Angels?
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to pound them. I don't care. They're not gonna hear the end of this.
We don't have to do a full deep dive on the Angels right now.
No. But it's their division.
We got to give the Mariners their shine. While also,
yes,
the A's, or not the A's, the Angels are going to catch a couple strays. A's are already down in the dumps. They don't need any help. But yeah, it's going to be a great race down the stretch. What will not be a great race down the stretch? not the NL West. The best team in the National League, record wise, could turn into a nice little competition here. Your Dodgers, I'll do a quick intro and then I'll let you have the stage. 9-1 in their last 10. Obviously, we know about their winning streak they just had. 76-47 right now. The Braves are 80-43. Center stage, Mello. Rant, rave, whatever you want to do about the Dodgers.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna. The division's not over yet. I know we still got like 6 weeks left, and the magic number is decreasing. Listen. I'm not taking any chances.
11
I
and a
was saying this
half.
last year too. I understand that. I said this last year too when the Dodgers were 50 games up in the division. It's not over,
I
but
guess the Phillies still have a shot then. 13 and a half out of the Braves. I'm holding out hope.
that's over.
All
That's
right.
um. I am so proud of this team. I'm so proud of this team. I really am. Like I said, things were not going well 2 months ago. They were in third place. You've heard the same thing over and over again. In a year where this was supposed to be the Dodgers' quote unquote down season, because they didn't go out and spend money in the offseason like they usually do. They still sign guys, but they let a lot of guys go. They brought in some guys that, let's be honest, we were kind of questioning. JD Martinez. Now, Noah Syndergaard did not work. I will come out and say that. Didn't work.
Nope.
But JD Martinez, um,
Jason
trading
Hayward.
for Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly, Jason Hayward, exactly. I was looking for that. Nobody wanted Jason Hayward. Dodgers came in. We'll give him a chance. Freddie Freeman said, that's my boy. He's still got something left in the tank. Let's give it a shot. And he's been one of the better signings. And just this winning streak that they went on, an 11-game winning streak before they lost on Friday, it essentially put the division away, which is crazy because at the time before they started, the Giants were still 3.5 games back. And you had people saying, hey, watch out for the Giants. Maybe they're going to steal this division from the Dodgers again. Dodgers just went on a tear. They're getting good starting pitching. Lineup's been good. The pieces are starting to fall in place. We have our rotation. We have our starting lineup. And we're figuring out this bullpen with some guys who we may or may not get back for this playoff run. I don't know. But I can't be any more prouder than this team in a year where everybody and their mother picked the Padres to win the West this year and get to the World Series again, or to win it. Yes, thank you. Yeah, you raise your hand and keep it up. The beginning of the season, everybody fell for the Arizona hype, after they beat us 4 out of 3 and they played very well. And look, now they've fallen off a cliff. Now, granted, they have gone back on the horse and they're in contention again for a playoff spot. They're only a game out. But after everything, and I'm saying this like we won something, because the Dodgers can win as many games as they want. It doesn't matter unless they win the whole thing in October, which it sucks that it's gotten to that point. But evidently, we've done it to ourselves. This is what we signed up for. This team has been good year after year. And they just, for some reason, October comes around and they just can't punch the ticket. They'll get close. They just can't punch the ticket. And this is the one thing. This is the one reason why I didn't want to get excited about this team, because coming into this season, I bought into it. I was like, you know what? We're going to have a down year. This team's going to win 92, 93 games. We'll finish in second place. Padres will win their 100-game down year. I know. I'm sorry.
92
spoiled.
wins. Down year.
That's a spoiled Dodger fan for you right there. I'm sorry.
Is.
That's a spoiled Dodger fan right there. It was going to be a down year, 92 wins. Padres were going to win their 100 games and win the division. And you know what? We were going to be ready for the wild card round, and we're going to run the table like that. This team has been playing well for the last month and a half. They're getting me very excited. for October, and I hate that. I hate that I'm getting excited about this team because I know exactly what's going to happen. We're going to play the Brewers. We're going to get beat by their pitching, and we're going to be home again after the divisional round. I already know what's going to happen. Corbin Burns is going to pitch game 2, and he's going to pitch game 5, and we're going to lose both of them, and that's a series. I already know how this is going to end. Hopefully I'm wrong, but this team's getting me excited again. It really is. And I couldn't be prouder of them. I know the division's not locked in yet, but I'm very proud of this team. I'm very proud to be a fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
There you go.
I always am, but for some reason more this year.
Fair. I'm not sure what all of us were doing writing off the Dodgers and saying this isn't going to work out. I understand there's injury, a lot of injury woes there, but you have two former MVPs on this team. 3. Clayton Kershaw won an MVP. But on the offensive end, Freddie and Mookie. And we're saying this is a third place team. This is a wild card team. This is the team that's not going to win their division. You know, they're going to roll over to the Padres, and they're probably going to be an early playoff exit, you know, whatever our expectations were. I understand they made some great moves at the trade deadline. I mean, Lance Lynn has looked fantastic since putting on that Dodgers blue.
The rebirth of Lance Lynn. I said that after his last start. It's here. Yeah. He has risen once again.
Shout out Lance Lynn. I believe I used him in my immaculate. Oh no, I used Jason Hayward in my immaculate grid today. Shout out him.
I haven't done it, so don't tell me.
Oh, well, you could use Lance Lynn for him as well for it as well. So, either way, but yeah, I'm not sure what we were doing doubting, and I owe the Dodgers a sincere apology for writing you off. This is a team. There's a couple things you don't bet against in sports. For the longest time, it was Tom Brady. It was the Astros. You don't bet against the Astros. You don't bet against the Dodgers either. I mean, they're there every year. They're a great team every year for as long as I've been alive, pretty much. And especially as long as I've been paying attention and covering baseball. They're consistently, you said a down year, 92 wins. Phillies fans would do a lot of ridiculous things to get 92 wins in a season. And guess what? We still probably wouldn't end up with the NL East division crown. We'd still be a wild card team. So I'm a little bit jealous, honestly, because we haven't seen this kind of success. Even though we made it to the playoffs and we made it to the World Series and we were, a couple games, we should have won the World Series. Still think that. Anyway,
fair enough.
I understand the Dodgers haven't had a lot of postseason success recently, but something has to be said for consistent winning the NL West for the most part. There's a couple 2021 outliers there, but still, like 2021, any other team, it took a Giants miracle team to win that division, and then you beat them in the playoffs anyway. But I get jealous of regular season success, as dumb as that sounds, because you get frustrated with lots of regular season success and no postseason success. But I would love to have a little regular season consistently. I'd love to be able to pencil in 90 wins every season. But that's a struggle sometimes. So
yeah, and I know it doesn't seem like it. And listen, there's a lot of haters out there that don't like us, and I get that. You don't like us, too bad. I've said we have this thing out here, and it still stands to this day. It's Los Angeles against the world. You're either with us or against us. I'm sorry, but we haven't always cashed in the World Series. And the one time we did was in a 60-game season. And I get that. Doesn't matter. Every team had the same opportunity, so suck it. We've had We may have not won the World Series every year, but we have had a lot of great postseason moments. I just gave out a list a week ago of the top 5 Dodger postseason wins since 2013, since this run of the division has started. Those are all pretty memorable. Now, listen, they get lost because we didn't win the whole thing, but we've had some great moments. But just going back to this year, it's just I couldn't be prouder of this team, and it's crazy to think that this team could get better next year.
Yeah, it's insane. I was about to say, and you're gonna have a lot more playoff memories with Shohei Ohtani on your squad next season. I'd be willing to bet.
Because
But
we know how to win with him, Angels, or we're
how
gonna know.
about a trade for Mike Trout too? While you're at it,
Yeah, he's an Angel for life.
yeah, that's fair. If he
I
comes
want
anywhere,
fresh
it'd be to
meat.
Philly. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah. Um, if you would like to go watch a Dodger playoff game because they're definitely gonna have one out there,
Damn
how would
right.
you go do it?
You will go to my friends at SeatGeek. When you do, use the promo code ATD for $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Do it now. It's not just MLB playoffs that are coming. College
No,
football's back this weekend. NFL is right around the corner in a couple weeks. The NBA and the NHL are coming back very soon. Do it. Use it. Use it. Use it. ATD promo code $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek, the official sponsor of Major League Baseball.
that's right. There's lots of great concerts out there. We're in concert season. Um, it's not
Drake,
gonna save
LA
you.
this week.
It's not gonna save you very much in the grand scheme of things for Taylor Swift tickets. But
No.
$20 or something, and for baseball tickets, it's a lot. You can go to a crappy Nationals or A's game for probably like $5 if you use a code ATD. So we're out there. We're looking
It'll
out
be
for you.
yes. And I'm so glad you did that. I'm gonna dump on it one more time. The final home games of Shohei Ohtani in an Angels uniform they're fast approaching. So use that promo code and go see Shohei Ohtani in an Angels uniform for the final time. Because let me tell you something, when he leaves, you won't see the building that packed again for a very long time. Angel fans, I know you don't want to hear that. I don't care. You know it's true, and I know it's true.
You're not wrong. And on that note, we're gonna wrap up episode 32. Big thank you to guys for watching and listening, all that jazz. Um,
Thank you.
yes, and we'll be back at it again on Friday. See you later.
Adios.